the Daily Ascent. I'm Molly Carmel, and this is the podcast I always wish existed. A bite-sized, on-the-ground spiritual note that can shift your thinking and your outlook on life to help make us all a little bit more awake, alive, and ascending. So today I want to talk about something that happened when I asked for help with something that felt like almost too stupid and silly to share, and why I say so much on this show that there's no such thing as an unanswered prayer. I actually just really want to explain that phrase to you, and the perfect story came to mind. There's this old spiritual teacher named Wayne Dyer. He's great. He passed away in 2015, but his wisdom guides me. He was one of the first spiritual teachers I ever found. And he used to have this phrase, and he would say, when you change the way you look at things, the things that you look at change. And when I think about how I've decided to look at my life, decided who I used to be before I became, really understood spirituality and who I am now, Wayne Dyer really, really shifted that. Because to me, spirituality is a shift in what you choose to believe. And I've been thinking that a lot about that in the last few days because of something that happened actually with my dog, Danny. It has been snowing so much in the Northeast where I live. And I'm from the Northeast, so I'm accustomed to snow, but I'm just not accustomed to what's happening right now. And my sweet dog, Danny, who's like the love of my life, he was born and raised in North Carolina. So this is only his second Northeast winter. And his first Northeast winter, he did okay. There wasn't a whole lot of snow. He was really cute in it. Like he was running around. He's a big 75-pound lab mix. So just like for reference. But this year has been really, really intense. And Danny's very accustomed to having a backyard. In fact, he knows nothing different. He knows backyards. He knows nature trails. I mean, he's pretty bougie. And so, his life is that he runs to the backyard, he does his business in the grass, he comes back inside. He really doesn't know any other way. So with all of this snow, it's been incredibly hard for Danny to figure out how to use the bathroom, for lack of a better phrase. And it has been really, 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 really stressing me out. And I've tried a lot of methods, but there's ice on the ground and there's salt on the ground for his feet. And it's just been really troublesome. And I felt so stressed out about it. And probably because I love and care about him so much, and probably because I'm empathic and I feel his confusion and I feel his overwhelm. And honestly, this thing has been sitting on me so hard and causing me an enormous amount of stress. I mean, I guess love will do that to you, huh? And so I was at one of my meetings, the kind where, we sit in circles with people and share our truths. I love those meetings so very much. And at this particular meeting, you actually get picked to share. You don't choose to share, you get picked to share. And in these meetings where we sit in circles and tell the truth, I've always been taught that an honest truth is a share. And I usually try when I'm in these meetings to share in a way that's helpful to other people in the room and really, really sharing what's on my heart. But for some reason, at this particular meeting, when I chose to speak, I was like, okay, I think I'm just going to throw up a real prayer. And I did. I just threw up a prayer like I've been telling each and every one of you to do on the show. And I just said, I'm feeling so overwhelmed and scared because my dog is from the South and he's having a really hard time figuring out how to go to the bathroom with all of the snow. And I know that this might sound really minute, but it's really, really troubling me. And it's really what's on my heart. And if anybody has any suggestions, I would just be so open to them. I just kind of blabbed that out. Very, very unlike me. Very unlike me. And also very off topic for what the meeting is really about. And I honestly felt weirdly ashamed after I shared because, this is the kind of meeting we share really important things. And even though this was important to me, I was sort of worried that people would be like, why is this girl sharing about her dog? Like, that's so inappropriate and weird. But I did what I was taught to do, and I did what my heart told me to do. And I threw up a prayer, and I shared what was really, really true for me. And wouldn't you know it, at the end of the meeting, I was walking out the door. Door was open, and this sweet young girl runs up to me and she said, wait, 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 wait. I need to talk to you. I need to talk to you about your dog. And I was like, what? And she was like, I swear this happened. She was like, I work in an animal shelter. I really understand what's happening for you. And then this sweet, wonderful girl talked to me for 30 minutes about all sorts of methods to help Danny integrate into this snowy winter. And like my jaw dropped. And honestly, like the pain in my belly and the pain in my throat like left, and I just felt so much lighter after receiving the answer to my prayer. And listen, this may sound so woo-woo to you and kind of like so boxed up and bowed, but I'm telling you, there is no such thing as an unanswered prayer. Like, we might not like the answer. Some of these things that this girl suggested I do are going to be time intensive and labor intensive, and they're going to make me really cold, but prayer was answered. So that brings me to our pocket sage today, Tosha Silver. Oh, gosh, do I love Tosha Silver. If you don't know her. She's a spiritual teacher and an author, and she writes about divine support and surrendering our plans. And this is from her book, Outrageous Openness, which was a really, really important book in the beginning of my spiritual journey. She writes, the divine is always listening, always responding, but we have to ask. We have to be willing to say what's really on our hearts, even when it feels small or silly or embarrassing. Because when we ask with honesty, when we bring our whole truth to the altar, the universe moves to meet us. The answer might not look like what we expected, but it always comes. I love it. Let me read it again for those of you in the back. The divine is always listening, always responding, but we have to ask. We have to be willing to say what's really on our hearts, even when it feels small or silly or embarrassing. Because when we ask with honesty, when we bring our whole truth to the altar, the universe moves to meet us. The answer might not look like what we expected, but it always comes. So today's word of the day is ask. To ask is to pray. To ask is to call for help. To ask is to make yourself vulnerable enough to admit you don't have all the answers and you need support. And I think this is changing a little bit, but like, I think to ask for help in this world is still perceived as weak, or maybe it's just in our DNA that we think it's weak, right? Maybe it's in our DNA that we think we should all have it figured out and that, only serious problems warrant attention. I know it's super hard for me, but when I'm in my highest self, asking is actually an act of profound courage, bravery, faith, and everything in between. And so when we ask, when we throw up our prayer, we're saying, I trust that there's something bigger than me that can help. I trust that my needs matter, even when they feel small. And I trust I'm not alone in this. I trust that the answer will come, like Tosha Silver is saying. And, I kind of can't shut up about this on the Daily Ascent, right? I'm always like, throw up a prayer. I threw up a prayer, right? There's no such thing as an unanswered prayer. We just don't want to know the answer. I mean, I'm pretty repetitive with that one. And I just want to say, brava if you're listening to the show and you don't believe in prayer. But if you don't believe in prayer, still throw up a prayer. It doesn't care. Prayer doesn't care. Cute little rhyme there. Prayer works whether you believe in it or not. There's a lot of research that supports that. If you want to email me, I'll send it to you. Don't even call it prayer. Just call it asking. Call it putting it out there, right? Whatever you want. Nobody cares, right? And this story with Danny is just like such a heartwarming, perfect example. I threw up a prayer. I asked for help. And the answer actually came quite immediately, right? In the sweet young girl who worked at an animal shelter and had 30 minutes of advice for me. I mean, she just troubleshot. It was amazing, right? But here's the thing, that answer was not easy. Her answer wasn't like, "Oh, don't worry about it, he'll figure it out." Her answer was, "Here are all of these methods you can try, and they're going to be time consuming, uncomfortable. One of them's kind of expensive." I didn't love that answer, but it was an answer. It was a solve. And when I changed the way I looked at it, like Wayne Dyer is saying, right? When I changed the way I looked at things, the things I looked at changed. So when I honored that this was genuinely what was on my heart and I asked for help, everything changed. The stress I'd been carrying alone suddenly became something I could get support with. That problem that just felt too small to matter, but like enormous inside of me, became an opportunity for connection and guidance. So there's no such thing as an unanswered prayer, but we have to be willing to ask, and we have to be willing to say what's really true for us, even when we're afraid it's not important enough or serious enough or worthy enough, because your honest truth is a prayer. And when you offer it, when you ask for help, the answer will come. It might not be the answer you want. It might require work, but it will come. So here's my question for the day. What are you afraid to ask for help with? And what would it look like to honor that it's genuinely on your heart and throw up a prayer anyway? Ask. And I am right here with you, Ascenders, learning that asking is an act of courage and that there's no such thing as an unanswered prayer. We rise together. Until next time.